Congratulations, the Supreme Court has now stepped up to provide the dumbest people in the world. Yeah! It's just incredible having someone on the Supreme Court who doesn't understand the most basic of things. She's like, well, why do there have to be rules?
6 votes, yay. 2 votes, nay. 1 vote, I don't understand. Yeah. You can get to the highest echelon, the highest court in all the land, and that's still just the basic question. For decades, the rising cost of health insurance has been a contentious issue, one that affects every single American. Big health insurance companies who have been paid trillions in U.S. taxpayer money are raising health insurance prices historically high on Americans. At the same time, it was reported that major health insurance companies were funneling hundreds of thousands of dollars to fund Gavin Newsom's redistricting effort in California, designed to undermine President Trump and congressional Republicans. Just the other day, President Trump announced something historic. He's going to haul in the heads of the largest U.S. health insurance companies with the goal of saving Americans money by lowering the outrageous price of health insurance. The president has been crystal clear. Big insurance companies have been, quote, ripping off the public for years. Now he's taking the bold step of holding those big insurance companies accountable. It's about time, and we should all thank President Trump. Learn more at americansforopengovernment.com.
In America, parents call the shots for their families, not bureaucrats. But the so-called App Store Accountability Act puts your child at risk. This bill requires app stores to collect children's sensitive personal data while taking away power from parents over how their child's data is handled by tech companies. Parents should get to decide if their child's age is shared with apps, not politicians. Parents should attest to their kids' ages, not turn over birth certificates to tech companies. Congress, don't put kids at greater risk online and box parents out of making decisions for their families. Tell your lawmaker to put parents first. There are better ways to keep kids safe. NetChoice is dedicated to making the internet safe for free expression and free enterprise. Learn more at netchoice.org/keep-app-stores-safe.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please.
Keep the faith, hold the line, and own the libs.
It's time for our main event.
Fun Time Friday! Welcome back to the Ruthless Friday program. I'm Josh Holmes, along with Comfortably Smug Michael Duncan and John Ashbrook, left to right across your radio dial as always. It's going to be a Fun Time Friday because I got to tell you, there's a lot of really dumb stuff that happened this week. No more dumb situation than an argument presented before the United States Supreme Court, where one side was actually legit arguing against the laws of nature.
Yeah.
It's like arguing against gravity at some level. And of course, I'm referring to that Supreme Court case where there were men and women's sports. It's West Virginia. You heard on Tuesday from the Attorney General of West Virginia who brought that case all the way to the Supreme Court, which, judging from the arguments, I like his chances.
Yeah.
I like his chances. I mean, the attorneys in this case were reduced at some level to just arguing what the definition of a man and a woman is. Mm-hmm. At one point, Justice Alito interjected and was like, okay, so you can't give me the definition, but how am I supposed to determine discrimination if they're the same? And he basically, I'm paraphrasing, but he basically extrapolated out, there are a lot of laws on discrimination that we preside over. And if we're looking at all of those, but you can't tell me a definition other than what you just sort of identify as, no biological components whatsoever, are any of those.
Yeah, it turns out when you make a law and you have to work under a legal framework, things have to have definitions
which
in order for laws to apply to them.
Which, like, I was thinking about this in real time. I was on Brett on Tuesday on Special Report, and in real time, he's laying out these arguments, which I hadn't heard the Ketanji Brown Jackson, we'll get into it.
Yes.
But I hadn't heard her side of the argument. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, I bet every single person on the left, when they start hearing the argument to try to uphold men playing women's sports, is like, holy shit, if they lose this, you probably lose every single, affirmative action is gone, but you probably lose all discrimination cases federal, state, and whatever, because their argument in and of itself is there's no difference.
Yeah, everybody's the same.
But his
I mean, they have no idea. They just self-immolated on the whole thing, and they didn't even know. Like, nobody just sort of ran that by the old ACLU on the way in.
They seemed like the first questions that you would prepare for if you were going to go up against Judge Alito. I mean, and they were just basic, fact-based questions. And the guy is a legend. I hope to God that he does not retire this year, because he is so good, and we're just starting to see how good he is.
I mean, I really, when you talk about that moment in particular, it just really crystallized in my mind how much of the left, their foundation is just like vibes. And feel like they haven't thought out the consequences of anything they do, of any of their beliefs, of any definitions of what they believe, why they believe any of it. They're essentially just an angry mob mobilized on make-believe.
But the most gratifying
They are.
The most gratifying thing, like, coming out of that question from Sam Alito, to me at least, is, all right, so we're not crazy. Like we've had this whole debate in America, and this is proof that America really is the greatest country on planet Earth, is that this is the argument we've been making to the left for years now.
Yeah.
That whole movie that Matt Walsh did, What is a Woman?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
That you can get to the highest echelon, the highest court in all the land, and that's still just the basic question.
It's the basics.
It's the one we've been asking for years, and the left can't answer it.
But I think that the left is in this land of make-believe because they're a victim of their own success. They're like, oh, we can rob taxpayers blind and get away with it. Oh, we can hire an absolute moron to be our nominee for president, and we can get away with it.
Yeah.
We can say all of these lies, and that, you know what, maybe we should try to trick people into believing the sky is not blue. I bet we can get away with that one too.
You're not wrong.
But you start asking the basic questions, and they absolutely crumble. And like, if not for Alito, I mean, maybe somebody else would have asked those questions, but if not for Alito, I don't know that they would have been exposed in the same way.
Yeah, we're going to get into this here in a second. I want to give you a heads up that at the back end of Fun Time Friday, one of the most fun interviews that we've done in a super long time, Coach Bruce Pearl is with us, one of the all-time winningest college basketball coaches, a hero for a lot of us, not just because he's a great basketball coach, which he is, and we grew up watching him win all kinds of different things, but because he's one of the few people in sports who at the top of his game, not after it, but at the top of his game was willing to speak his mind, willing to say, yep, I'm a conservative, I'm a Republican, here are the things that I believe, come get me.
Yep.
And that inspires younger generations in a way that, we try to do our little part here on the Ruthless Variety program. And, there's a lot of people doing good work on this. But when you see somebody credentialed like that, who's willing to put his own skin in the game, they're naming...
Especially working at a college. You're in the belly of the beast.
I mean, this is a guy you name arenas after, and he's like, fuck all that. I'm going to tell you exactly what it is that I believe. Come at me. And he's done it, but he's done it. He's a thoughtful guy. Can't wait for you guys to hear this interview. It is 10 of 10. 10 of 10 Ruthless interview. So let's get back to the court for a second, because this Ketanji Brown Jackson lady.
Wow.
The Supreme Court justice, which is unbelievable that this woman sits on the Supreme Court. I've seen her do like theatrical plays. She was on Broadway at one point.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, a better place for this kind of production than the Supreme Court. But here's what she has to say in clip one.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition? No.
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in this context.
So
I'm not a biologist.
The meaning of the word woman is so unclear and controversial that you can't give me a definition?
So that's her Supreme Court confirmation hearing, which came into play because she couldn't give the definition, nor can she still give the definition. But she also doesn't understand a lot. She has a lot that she doesn't understand. Check a look at this Clip 2 compilation from June 2025.
This is in just 1 year for our audio-only listeners.
So I don't understand. Can I just understand? And I don't understand. And so what I don't understand, I don't understand. I don't understand your argument. I'm just trying to understand your answer. I don't understand. I guess I don't understand. I guess I don't understand. I don't understand. And I'm just trying to understand.
Each of these
I don't
is a
understand.
unique instance of her saying this.
This is the way that she's approaching issues where she's the ultimate authority.
And so I got that video sent to me last year by a source who wishes to remain anonymous, and someone who's very familiar with the workings of the Supreme Court.
Oh.
And they were appalled when they found that out, and they're like, I thought you might find this interesting. This is someone who's on the Supreme Court. That was in just 1 year, one term on the Supreme Court, where that's her like fallback of not knowing anything.
You'd think it would be a prerequisite for being on the highest court in the land was, understanding things.
You'd think so.
Well, you are the ultimate authority, like whether we have Hulk Hogan or his likeness wrestling women is up to this people like this woman.
It's 6 votes, yay, 2 votes, nay, 1 vote, I don't understand.
But I mean, that you literally have one job, which is to understand and rule on things.
To understand.
What is it you do around here?
Well, so this became a big source of this particular case because, again, she doesn't understand.
Doesn't understand.
She does. So let's throw up this graphic. And again, there's no video of the Supreme Court. I wish there was, because that would be fire. But graphic 1, please. This is her commentary that reads, I guess I'm still struggling to understand why the state would have to have perfectly tailored laws. I would think the state would just have to make exceptions where people can demonstrate that the justification that makes the state's conduct constitutional doesn't apply to them. Gobbledygook, 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 gobbledygook. But she doesn't understand. So in response, the attorney says, so making exceptions is tailoring your law. That's literally what that means, to tailor your law. Like, she's getting dunked on by attorneys before. Like, I've had the pleasure of getting to know a number of litigators before the Supreme Court. These are special people. If you've got the balls and the ego and the qualifications to stand before some of the smartest people on the planet and make an argument, like, these are special people. Their number one rule is you're deferential to a fault.
Well, yeah, because you want their vote.
Yeah, but I mean, even when you're right, and you think you're right, you are just deferential. All pretense is thrown out the window at this point. The lawyers are throwing alley-oops to each other to dunk on Ketanji Brown Jackson.
It's just incredible having someone on the Supreme Court who doesn't understand the most basic of things. She's like, well, why do there have to be rules? Can't you just tailor things to? Why does the state have to have rules? Can't the Constitution just, like, holy shit, how the hell does this happen? Joe Biden is clearly, I mean, he was essentially just like Weekend at Bernie's. It was all the left-wing activists that were around him making his picks. This is a prime example of what you get.
I mean, it's incredible, but she's not done there. They can't just call a man and a woman a man and a woman. We've gone through like at least a decade now of this whole. I remember when this first popped up in a political context where they started calling people cisgender, which I was like, what the hell is that? Cisgender. It's offensive to me. I'll be honest with you. It should be. It's offensive to me. Like, I don't know what that is, cisgender. You can't just change men and women to something like, what's cis? What the hell is that?
They made it up.
They made it up. They're inventing a new language. Well, anyway, she wants to strictly adhere to some of that. Clip 3.
You have the overarching classification. Everybody has to be play on the team that is the same as their sex at birth. But then you have a gender identity definition that is operating within that, meaning a distinction, meaning that for cisgender girls,
cisgender,
their gender identity. For transgender girls, they can't.
So I think that, okay, so as to the part about your ability to pass over from boy to girl,
yes,
you can go from one way but not the other. I want to be clear that BPJ is not challenging that specific classification. I think that's important to start with. But I think, if anything, that's useful evidence as to the lack of a transgender-based discrimination, because if the legislature were just sort of unsettled by the notion of transgender athletes, I think the answer would have been to then bar them from passing over in any way consistent with their gender.
I appreciate that. I guess I was getting at the what I understood the Chief Justice to be trying to discuss, which was this notion that this is really just about the definition of who we accept that you can separate boys and girls, and we are now looking at the definition of a girl, and we're saying only people who were girl assigned at birth qualify.
And okay, let's just set aside her string of unlistenable prepositional phrases, and just I want to flag that was Michael Williams. He's the Solicitor General for the state of West Virginia. We had their AG on earlier this week, and he was talking about how good that guy was, and we just heard it. He put her in a body bag.
You got it. You had an early preview of what that guy was about to do to the Supreme Court. He did it. I will say the Irish were up in arms at the cis gingers. The cis gingers. I mean, they're pissed. I mean, when you have like a couple of dozen kids, gender, I don't know.
The gingers have struggled enough. They shouldn't be pulled into the middle of this.
It's cis gingers.
Yeah, it's hard enough being red-haired and a kid.
I mean, just like, what are we doing here? That you have a Supreme Court justice being like, girl assigned at birth is dude, why do you this is one of the things of the absurdity of the left is they have their enforcement mob, which forces all of them to jump through these stupid little hoops where it's like the emperor has no clothes. We all know this is made up gobbledygook. We're talking about people who have a mental health problem, and you're having to call them a girl and jump through all these hoops and be like, girl assigned at birth. It's like we all know the facts here. It's just that half of these people in this country, for some reason, are scared to come out and say the obvious, which is that boys are boys, girls are girls.
Right.
That's just how it's always been for a million years.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of grateful for Ketanji Brown Jackson,
because she actually exposes,
right? Well, I mean,
unintentionally the idiocy.
Well, there's so much in the left's struggle Olympics of who qualifies for the DEI stuff, and there's so much unintended consequences that we never see in society under that regime, right? Like who didn't get the job, who didn't get into college or whatever, and those stories are hard to tell. But when the chickens come home to roost and you apply it to something like the highest court in the land, now we all get to laugh and mock it. And wouldn't you rather have an incompetent idiot on the Supreme Court arguing the liberal position than somebody who was competent?
Yeah, no, totally. Much better this way.
Yeah.
Because again, you've got West Virginia solicitor two-hand dunking on a Supreme Court justice, like something that was incomprehensible.
Yeah.
But I do think it reduces, look, what the modern left is up to today is a basic violation of a social contract that we all entered into as Americans at an early age. There are certain truths that we just accept. There are stop signs. You stop at them, right? There are sports where there's boys' sports, and there's sports where there's girls' sports. You play what you are, right? I mean, the sky is blue. Gravity exists. Water is wet. You know what I mean? They're like basic social contracts and then you take it like a half step further and you're like, well, we wrote a law and it says that if you're here illegally, that you can't be here. But that's also like all of these things, everything that they're talking about is a violation of a social contract. It's not just the law.
I think it was a quote from, was it Gulag Archipelago, where it was that if they can make you believe absurdities, they can make you commit atrocities.
Yes.
And that's foundational to today's left.
Alexander Solzhenitsyn.
Listen to you.
Well, he's saying Gulag Archipelago. The only thing I was thinking, listening to Ketanji Brown Jackson's bullshit, was a 6'4" volleyball player spiking a ball into some 4'9", 80-pound girl.
Yeah.
And them being like, no, they should be able to do that.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Under no circumstances does anybody believe that. And yet they still push and push and push.
Well, have no fear. The right is doing a little fighting back. You're going to see a clip here shortly that is going to, I think, lift your spirits a touch from what the left is trying to do. A lightning round of all kinds of variety coming right up after this.
Energy is all around us. It's how we move, how we build, and how we make every day a little easier. We're all around America's oil and natural gas, supporting 11 million good-paying American jobs across the country and powering our way of life. But energy demand is growing and fast. That's why we need to overhaul our broken permitting process to unleash America's abundant natural resources, strengthen national security, and create a future where American energy leads the world. What America builds today will help secure a more affordable, more reliable future with enough energy to go around for generations to come. Our country can't wait. We must pass permitting reform now to help secure American energy dominance. Because when America builds, America wins. America's oil and natural gas. Paid for by the American Petroleum Institute.
Okay, so, I mean, look, you see all kinds of things on the news about protests, and the left is standing up to the mighty federal government. Good Lord, yeah, wouldn't want to do their job and enforce the law. But there's a couple of things you didn't see. And this is like, you know, you get some innocent bystanders who happen to align with something other than anarchy. And I'm told it doesn't, I haven't seen this clip, but I'm told it doesn't go well. Clip 4. All right, it's a guy with a flag. Guy putting a blowhorn in his ear.
Yeah. For our audio listeners, this is a guy who's just holding the U.S. flag.
All he's doing is holding a flag.
And this is what they do. The left wants to just ruin your life if you don't do what they want.
Putting it in his ear, following him around, just pestering this guy, putting it up against his head.
A bullhorn with a siren right against his head and following him around.
Because he's holding a flag. There, knocks the first guy out. Knocks the second guy. Now the third guy. They keep going. Oh, and fourth guy. No way.
And then that stupid whistle that they have in Minnesota. God, I hate people in Minnesota.
No way. Did he drop this guy too?
Well, here's the thing. Now,
Five guys?
Now a couple of them roll up on him.
Sixth guy. He's dropped 6
Watch
human
this one.
beings.
This guy in the red thinks he's really got him.
One shot. Oh, no! No, 7, 8!
Yeah, dude.
Dude, the guy that just went full...
Yeah.
I mean, that was almost like a WWE.
I mean, he had his knees wobble after that hit, and he was gone. Watch this guy in the red again.
He's out on his feet.
Nap time,
out on
bro.
his feet.
So you got a bunch of lefty anarchists that are saying like, no, save our pedophiles. One guy holding a flag. They decide to accost him, and he's like, I've had just about enough of this shit.
How many TikTok videos do you think all of those liberal activists put up after it being like, I was targeted and harassed by a MAGA extremist Nazi, and then you see the video and it's like, you kind of got what you deserve.
Can I just ask you, like, we all grew up with our boys back home. Mm-hmm. If you saw one of your boys on a tape like this, they were just holding a flag, which is, by the way, not impossible. At least for my friends, like that situation that guy is not impossible to find themselves in. And then you find out that they knocked out 8 straight libs that went at him. The last guy just full bag of bones to the turf. I mean, he would just be a legend.
Yeah.
And that's the thing
Grand
is,
Marshal of the 4th of July parade.
I mean, the left just has to learn. Like, Americans are sick of the bullying. That's why we got the election the way we did in 2024 is people are sick and tired of a mob telling them how to behave, what you're allowed to do, and if you do not do exactly what they want, how annoying can you possibly get? Yeah. You put a bullhorn with a siren next to someone's head, and you expect zero. That's the thing is, for so long they've had zero pushback, and they've had zero consequences. And boy, when the consequences arrive, it's great to see.
Well, I understand it's a liberal mob, but they weren't exactly expressing a lot of solidarity there. I mean,
they're coming one at one.
It was like a Steven Seagal movie, right? Where all the bad guys line up in a line to get their ass kicked one at a time.
Like, don't you know you're all going to attack at once?
It's true. It's like the whole
work together.
So true. Thank you for the gift of hearing loss because of the bullhorn. I will return the favor by providing you CTE. 8 of you consecutively. in 15 seconds.
And this is the best. Is the guy in the red like throws his gloves off and
Yeah,
threw
he's
an
like,
umbrella,
I'm gonna go get him.
It's time to do this.
Yeah.
Done, dude.
Good night. And that guy, too, takes 3 uppercuts right to the mug.
Dude, I love it. It was just so dramatic. The guy in red thought he was going to do something, just gets dropped.
I want to know the name of that legend. If anybody knows, let us know here on the Ruthless Variety program. Clip 5, I'm told that my governor of Minnesota had some interesting things to say.
Expect for the next 11 months for me to ride you like you've never been ridden.
Oh, no.
What?
Oh, no.
Okay, so the context to this, I'm told, is that he's talking about
So that's just what
Republicans.
guys in Minnesota are looking for. That's what they vote for.
Can I get one more replay on this just in case everybody didn't hear it?
Expect for the next 11 months for me to ride you like you've never been ridden.
And guys in Minnesota line up to vote for that.
That is.
They're like, that's what I want.
Well, I think it's a mistake, right? Because it occurs to me that he is Walz. It has sort of a mistaken identity here. Again, this goes back to Ketanji Brown Jackson and everything we were talking about.
He's won in Minnesota.
Segment.
Seems like that's what Minnesota's into.
Well, I mean, he's seeing himself as a top when I think he's more of a bottom. But it's certainly not a power bottom in the classical sense. Michael has taught me all of this. I think it was Always Sunny.
I've learned everything I know about the roles in the gay community from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
So a sub-bottom would be probably the best classification.
We should give a warning. Parents, this is not the episode to listen to at school pickup.
You're going to get it at school anyway. You might as well hear it from us.
Learned a lot. Learned a lot by watching a little bit of television. He could be a versatile. That's also an option.
Oh, a versatile, a submersible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. Well, he's certainly not a top. He was saying,
Not a twink either.
Basically. A twink versatile. Might be a twink.
No, he's more of an otter, I think.
Oh, I don't even know what that is.
I know the culture.
What's an otter?
I don't know, man.
Is it some version of a bear?
I'm not getting into it.
Bear but weaker?
I'm not getting into it.
This is not the family friendly.
Watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia. You'll know what I'm talking about.
All right, it all leads to our question of the day. If you've seen Ketanji Brown Jackson, you've seen Walz. Who's the dumbest lib this week and why?
Incredible question.
There is a ton to choose from.
That's a tough one.
You have no idea how hard it is to put together Fun Time Friday. I mean, we got so many things to choose from. And you kind of wear out with the Crockett's and the AOCs. And we don't want to give you the same stuff every week. They provide content on the reg for us. But this is, we now have the High Court in play.
Congratulations. The Supreme Court has now stepped up to provide the dumbest people in the world.
Yeah. So when you like and subscribe to the Ruthless Friday program, we read all of your comments, get back to the very next episode. In this case, just tell us who you think is the thing on that. Actually, you know what? Why don't we just talk about what we're going to do this weekend?
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to obviously have NFL football and all of that stuff. But in order to do that and be prepared for that, you're going to need some Z-Biotics.
Friend of the program, Z-Biotics.
Yeah. And I can't tell you, dude, I know I say this every episode, but again, last week, somebody's like, I bought a case of this stuff and it's absolute magic.
Yep, that's it right there. That's Z-Biotics. So what Z-Biotics is, for our new listeners, is it's your alcohol pre-drink. Before you have alcohol, before you head out to the game or you head out to a party, you have one of these and it works like magic, because so many people think the day after you drink, you have a good time. You feel awful because you're dehydrated, but you can chug all the Gatorade in the world and it's not going to help you, because what happens is when you drink alcohol, your stomach breaks it down into this toxic byproduct, and that's what makes you feel miserable. Z-Biotics knocks that right out.
And Smug is not just saying this. He actually hands these out to people he meets along the way and then follows up the day after just to see how they respond. And to a person, they all say, that is magic.
Because I want the credit. I want everyone to know.
we need to get you a clipboard so you can collect testimonials for Z-Biotics.
No, I mean, for real. Just this week, I had a meeting where this big Maha guy, and he was like, here, you should take this supplement. You should take that. And I'm like, okay, that's great. And he's like, but I got to tell you, you've turned me on to something.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, what's that? And he goes, Z-Biotics is absolute magic. And I was like, you're right. It is absolute magic. Well, and that's why you got to go to zbiotics.com/ruthless to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use Ruthless at the checkout. Z-Biotics is back with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason at all, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. You go to zbiotics.com/ruthless Progrum.com/Ruthless and use Ruthless code at the checkout for 15% off. All right. So every once in a while, we like to dip into the 5 stars.
It's been a while.
Yeah, we get your comments frequently, and we love every single thing. Don't stop for a second on that. But you got to help the audio-only peeps out every once in a while. It's where we started, audio only, and they leave 5 stars. And so when they leave 5 stars, we like to get to it, once every month, 6 weeks or something like that. But to do that, we always start with a voice.
Okay, first comment is from BLT Lucille, and she writes, the best. The Ruthless guys are my #1 go-to podcast, not only informative, but always have a good laugh. Highly recommended. Wish they were on more than 3 times a week.
Thank you. That is fantastic. Thank you, BLT Lucille. Dunks, what do we got?
This is from Giddy's mom. Giddy's mom writes, my 10-year-old son loves the program. I just want to go ahead and apologize
Yes, that's what I was
for
gonna
our
say.
Always Sunny segment.
Like I said, he's going to learn it
Yeah.
in second-grade education in most public schools across our country. We might as well hear from the fellas.
Continuing here. And asks me to listen every time we are in the car. Oh, nice. I listen to it before he does, so I can sometimes lower the volume quickly.
Thank you for
like
that.
today.
Fair, that's irresponsible.
Parenthetical, before I have to explain things I don't want to explain just yet.
Perfectly Fair. timed.
Hey, well, we'll explain anything to Giddy. You just let us know.
Yeah, you let us know.
Any topic you need us to throw in there, we're happy to explain. Thanks for being so entertaining and allowing me to start teaching him about the crazy Dems. His Nana is one.
Ooh, he's got one in the family's got to fight
Nana.
off. Yeah. Well, that's okay. Again, we are more than happy. Giddy, keep sending in the questions.
Yeah.
We've got answers. Smug, what do we got?
This is from WNL. They write, always informed, always informative, always a hoot. They say the fellas do more than drone out collective wisdom, of which they have much. They inform, yes, but they do it in a concise, cogent manner that runs the gamut from crisp entertainment to downright hilarity. Their guests are terrific, and the interviewing style allows the guest to actually say something. The program is a go-to for me. I wish they were on every day. Thank you so much.
So kind.
Kind
it's
thing to
so
say.
kind. You have no idea how much comments like that keep us going.
Yeah.
We just absolutely love it. Thank you so much. When we come back, we're going to play a game on Fun Time Friday.
Yeah.
Dem or Journo. One of the best. Just an absolute cornerstone of the variety program right after this. Okay, welcome back to the Ruthless Variety program. You will recall just a brief time ago during the Obama era, there was a fair amount of deportations. And of course, ICE had a very important role at that stage because, of course, there was a Democratic president that was administering their role. We thought in order to introduce our game, Dem or Journo, a little flashback might be nice just to refresh your memory on how they covered ICE during President Obama.
Just before the sun rises in the Windy City, Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents fan out across Chicago to arrest criminals in the U.S. illegally.
Tech 1, Tech 2, Tech 3.
Criminals.
CNN was granted exclusive access to witness some of those raids.
You have evidence, right, that he's using a fake identity or?
That is correct. We believe he's been using a U.S. citizen's identity to live and work. He has an Illinois driver's license.
He's going to be processed. They're going to fingerprint him.
Not a
ask him
pedophile.
Questions, and there's a whole process that goes into place before anyone
False
is
ID.
deported
Whole
back,
process.
including seeing
The old
judge.
fake
He
ID.
is a criminal. He has an extensive criminal history. And
I
by
love the
taking
dramatic
him out of
music.
the community, it's making the community safer. And that's ICE's purpose, is to focus on criminals and community safety by taking these recidivist criminals out of our communities.
What do you think about what ICE is doing to get criminal undocumented immigrants off the street?
That's good.
They've already had their due process. Now, basically,
It's so weird seeing this on CNN.
What's going to be happening to them, and then we arrange for their removal from the United States.
It's like, dude, there used to be a sane time. Like this is 2016, the spring. It's before Trump has won, and you saw how first off she refers to illegal aliens correctly as criminals. And now you don't hear that.
No.
Right.
They're like, oh,
They're like, we
boy.
believe that this guy got into a bar and he's not 21, so we're gonna go kick down his fucking door.
And that's just fine. But like, if Trump wants to arrest a pedophile, they're like ready to run over
they're
an
like
ICE
this,
agent.
This guy molested an 8-year-old, and people are like, oh my God, no! Why is ICE here?
This is just a Minnesota man.
It's controversial.
Minnesota man.
But fellas, this CNN report was not unique at the time. There were many other outlets who wrote something very similar. So I saw that and thought, you know what, maybe this is a good opportunity to play a throwback version of Dem or Journo.
Can you refresh for the audience the rules? Because we don't play it that often.
Yeah, this is a game that Michael Duncan came up with, and it's just absolutely brilliant because you read through a series of statements. Most, if not all of them, are from Journos, except one is from a Democrat. So in this case...
There's 4 statements. 3 are from Journos. 1 is from a Dem operative.
And you have to pick who the Dem is.
Exactly. But in this case, so many Journos wrote about this, I actually have 5. So you got 4 Journos.
Bonai.
4 Journos, 1 Democrat.
Wow.
Okay.
Just an additional.
You guys ready to play?
Yeah, let's go.
They have to pick the Democrat. First statement, please, Lee, up on the screen. This is from 2015. The Department of Homeland Security has begun preparing for a series of raids that would target for deportation hundreds of families who have flocked to the United States.
Wow.
Is that a statement from the Obama administration, or is that a journo writing about what they're doing?
Okay.
Okay, you ready for statement number 2?
Yep.
Okay, this is from 2016.
No, this is from 2015.
Okay, Lee's, we got a different one up. Let me just... The federal government is planning a series of raids beginning in January to round up and deport hundreds of undocumented families, hoping to discourage a renewed surge in illegal border crossings. Interesting. Okay, is that a journo describing what Obama's doing?
It's like
Obama
a
announcing.
different country. It's like a different country. Like, oh, they want to discourage people from breaking the law and crossing the border illegally.
Oh my gosh, what is that?
Man,
this is crazy.
Must be some sort of Nazi.
Is this 1955?
Okay, Lee, statement number 3, please. This past weekend, Immigration and Customs Enforcement engaged in a concerted nationwide enforcement operations to take into custody and return at a greater rate adults who entered this country illegally with children. Okay, that's January of 2016.
Okay.
Okay, number 4. Democrats in Congress, which is currently in recess, have been mostly quiet on the raids. Okay, that's January of 2016.
Mostly quiet. It's interesting little sub note. Whether it's a journo or a Dem.
Right.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Okay.
And the final, number 5. Obama has deported more people than any other president. And that's August of 2016.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Okay, is that a Dem or is that a journo?
Okay. The way we usually start this, for those of you who are new to the game, is we end up breaking it down. And because we've been involved in this line of work for a long time, we can provide you with some tells and some thoughts. We're not always right, but we usually try to deduce a little bit. And one of the things that the Obama administration did, it's now gone. Like, nobody does this in journalism or in politics anymore. But what the Obama administration used to do is sort of pick up a trend that all White Houses used to do, which is set the table on a Sunday with a Sunday story about what they were going to talk about and do all week long. And there would be a series of stories about what they were trying to accomplish. It drove the message. It was actually pretty smart. They should probably start doing that again. It's going to be different in terms of its application.
Well, it's a little bit easier when you've got like seal-clapping journalists all week who reinforce that message and talk about how smart and brave it is.
Which is what makes this game so difficult, because they'd put out a message and every story would look an awful lot like the press release that was driving it.
So, but from that standpoint, 1 and 2 read to me like those old school process stories.
Yep.
Where they begun preparing. They're beginning a series of raids. It's like, we have some information that only we could provide you because we're such good journalists, except we're just doing stenography for the Obama administration.
Right. But 3 reads different to me.
It does.
Because it reads more about the specific enforcement the Obama administration is trying to do. Notice that they wrapped in the illegally with children.
This is number 3 currently on the screen for our YouTube listeners.
It sounds to me like the administration trying to frame up the type of enforcement they're focusing in on in order to hopefully head off criticism at the past.
Wait, can you just put up 3 one more time? You're talking about the type of enforcement the administration is focused on. And once again, we're talking about the Obama administration focusing on ICE enforcement to return at a greater rate adults who entered this country illegally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which they are, by the way, the world record holder for deportations.
But greater rate and illegally with children, I think.
With children seems
more
like
shaping it.
There is a shape, but you can't underestimate how negligent journalists are about their stenography, particularly as it pertains to the Obama administration. So I flagged this right away, as you did, which I thought was, maybe more consideration was needed. Number 4 to me, if we can pop that back up, that seemed to me like a pretty classic Journo talk. Their beat is Congress.
Yeah, Hill journalist. They're working the halls.
And they're like, hey, these Dems, they're not talking about it. And like, I'm not sure if you're a Democrat that you are going to say, like, they're not talking. You'd be like, oh, yeah, we're all in favor of it. Right? So I put that in the Journo category.
Yeah,
but it is sort of, if you could just put that up one more time, I'd like to
Are you playing the game, or is he doing
but
it?
It seems like he's trying to shape our opinion.
Yeah.
But I want to point out, it is sort of interesting to see someone suggest that Democrats have been quiet on the Obama administration action, right?
Yeah, no, that is
that's
true.
sort of like, why would you write that?
They're quiet.
Why would you say that?
They're quiet about it. They don't seem very quiet now, do
Was
they?
that true at the time? They don't seem quiet now.
They don't seem very quiet. And then if you get to number 5, that to me, Obama has deported more people than any other president. It's a headline. The question before this panel is whether it is a press release headline or a fact check headline.
Exactly. That's the thing. Is it could be someone in the Obama administration under pressure of being like, hey, just wanting you to know Obama's deported more people than any other president. Or it could be like a headline from a publication. And even there's the possibility in my mind of, is that someone like Ryan Grimm or one of these like far lefties who are trying to
go at it the other way,
and be like, Obama's deported more than any other president.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it in terms of like the PolitiFact or something like that, But so between, I don't know if you guys agree with this, but between me, it's 3 and 5.
Yeah, I'm picking 3.
I picked 3. Wow.
Just because you guys went with 3, which I think I probably would say, I'll just go 5 and see what happens here.
Okay, time for the reveal. Number 1, please. The Washington Post. And you guys correctly diagnosed that that's a lead to a story they're writing off of a press release from the Obama administration. Okay, number 2, please, Lee.
New York Times. It's the classic.
Yep.
Dude, I can't tell you how funny. Dear listener, you don't have no idea how much we lived in these world where the Washington Post and the New York Times had the exact same story. They broke it as though it was the moon landing every Sunday. And it was about nothing consequential whatsoever other than they had something that was going to be covered all week long.
Yeah.
That's the perfect example. Thank you for bringing that up.
Number 3, fellas, whoever picked this one was correct.
Yes.
This was Jay Johnson.
Yes.
Okay. This was Obama's DHS secretary at the time talking about how he was encouraging ICE to fan out around the country and collect up the illegal aliens.
Yeah, Holmes, you picked 5. I think your heart was on 3. We were right, but it reminds me, this whole setup you were talking about, it would be him. It would be Jay Johnson out there on a Sunday show, and he'd lay out the administration's policy, what our focus is this week. And then Monday, the Washington Post would dutifully give a nice stenographer session. And then Tuesday, New York Times would come out with the exact same formulation of the thing.
Totally.
I feel like we're just living through it right now.
Just living through it. They owned the news cycle entirely, the information flow. They would roll it out on a Sunday, Washington Post, New York Times. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they would do what they're supposed to do, and members of Congress were dutifully silent if they disagreed with it. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you'd have administration people back out and then put Jay Johnson out on a Sunday to say, this past week we protected the children. End of cycle, moving on, approval ratings going to the moon.
And no one was called a Nazi. It's crazy.
It's weird.
Huh.
Weird. Quite to the contrary. Number 4, please, is from Politico.
We said Hill reporter.
Hill reporter.
We knew, dude, nailing it.
Politico at the time claimed that Democrats were mostly quiet. I mean, I don't know if that jives with what was actually happening, but Politico wanted to write it that way. Number 5 is from ABC News. It was not.
Wow! It wasn't a fact check.
Fellas, it was not a fact check. It was not Ryan Grimm.
That is
it was a story with data and statistics about how Obama had deported 2.5 million people.
They were proud of it.
Of that story.
They were proud of it.
That's amazing.
But because Trump was making it an issue in the campaign,
That's
and let's
exactly
throw the
right.
date back up.
Dude, that's a good point. That's why you would see something like that?
End of August, right before Labor Day. So the key inflection point in that campaign was Trump's immigration stance vis-a-vis Hillary Clinton, so you have to disabuse the Republican of his argument.
That's 100% why they do that.
Here we are.
Perfect. Yep, dead on. That's
Liars.
incredible.
Liars.
That's incredible.
What a great game.
Great game.
God, you know what? Thank you for putting that
great
together.
job putting it together. That was fantastic.
Just a terrific historical look back on what was a country.
Yeah, I think we do that well here on the Ruthless Variety Program.
I think we do too. I cannot wait for you to hear this interview. This guy is just gold all around. Bruce Pearl. If you are a fan of college basketball, I'm going to introduce you to somebody here that you're going to need no introduction for. He's an absolute legend. He has more than 700 wins. He's a guy that we grew up watching, idolizing for what an incredible coach he was. Bruce Pearl. How are you, sir?
Holmes, good to be here.
Great
to be here.
Listen, this is so fun. First of all, we love when we can break out from our own sort of political DC deal and talk to a real person who does real things.
That's had some skin in the game that, you know, like I say, sometimes teachers teach and coaches coach, and those that can do and those that can't teach.
Right? So, no, it's fair.
Or talk about it.
It's fair, and I'm not sure what that is in DC. But listen, I want to start with the basketball and the coaching and all of this stuff, because this is fascinating to all of our audience and to us. Southern Indiana, Milwaukee, Tennessee, Auburn. I mean, what are you, like a 75% win percentage? It worked out pretty much everywhere. Do you have, when you look back now, because you just retired in September.
Yeah, late September.
Are there like a team or 2 or 3 games that you remember that stand out above all else?
No.
No. Okay, moving on.
No. So listen, first of all, thank you. Like, as a older conservative Republican that loves his country, thank you. We need more of you guys out there, you know, teaching and preaching to our young people, and making it fun. And talking some common sense. And so no, it's great to be with you guys, and I'd love to keep doing it, you know, contributing to what you're doing. I don't know, Southern Indiana, Division II. I think that the thing for me is everybody worries about where you're going. Instead about where you are. Like, do an unbelievable job with where you are. Don't worry about what's next. What's next going to take care of itself if you do a great job where you are. So when I was an assistant coach for Dr. Tom Davis, I want to be the best assistant that he'd ever had. I wanted to serve him. I wanted to care about the winning and losing as much as he did, help him be successful, so on and so forth. And then when it came to be my own head coaching job, my first job was in Division II. And a lot of people said, D2? Why would you go down to D2? Because I want to learn how to coach, and I want to challenge myself and treat it like a Division I job. And I wasn't worried about leaving. But because they did such a good job in one, I was attractive all the way through. Yeah, got another opportunity.
I mean, you can see, we always talk about the parallels of sports and politics and, you know, world events, but leadership in general. I mean, that principle that you just laid out is the only principle you ought to teach an intern in any line of work.
Right.
You do as good a job as you can do where you're at.
No doubt. And I think the other thing about leadership is we need way more Indians than we need chiefs.
Yeah.
we need great teammates. I can't do anything, but I can lead.
Yeah.
But if you had a room full of leaders, nobody gets shit done. I mean, nothing would happen.
It's called the United States Senate.
Yeah, I love it. No doubt, right? But a lot of times we teach kids all the time what a leader's all about. This is what you're all about, and the kid goes, "Oh my God, I'm none of those things," and they think it's that there's something wrong with me. Yeah. No, there isn't, man. We need some guys that can follow the lead and make some amazing things happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, look, you made amazing things. First of all, I remember the Milwaukee team. My
old Milwaukee team.
Made a run.
Yeah.
And I remember being a young college basketball fan. My dad and I would watch that. And we're like, look at this team. Yeah. It's not supposed to do anything. You're just all of a sudden running everybody up one side and down the other.
It was cool. Milwaukee was a great town, especially in the summer.
Yeah, right. Basketball season, you want to stay in the gym.
Yeah, stay indoors. And I just always sort of treated, no matter where I was, at a really high level. I wanted to coach at a high major level. I wanted to develop, fundraise, get crowds, get the students to come, build programs. And it mattered to me as far as I was kind of, if there was a word to describe me, a little relentless about where I've been, and I wanted to leave jobs, better than I found them. But what happens is sometimes they treat a job like the University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee. Oh, it's not Madison. It's not the highest level, and I just never treated it that way. And it wasn't that way as a school, wasn't that way as a town, and we weren't afraid to play against the big boys, and we knocked off some big time teams on our Our road, we went to the NCAA tournament. We beat Boston College. We beat Alabama, which got me that job. Quick story on how I got the Tennessee job.
Yeah.
Beat Alabama and beat Boston College, and Tennessee flies me in for an interview. And Philip Fulmer's at the airport.
Yeah.
Gets off the plane. Oh, my God. It's
legendary at this
legendary
point.
Philip Fulmer. He says, Coach Pearl, I'm Philip Fulmer. He goes, I don't know who you are, but after you beat Alabama, you were my choice. And he turned around and walked away. Like I knew I had the job right there. I had Fulmer's blessing.
That's so good. I love that. Doug?
So when you look at the landscape of college athletics now, with all that benefit of hindsight and everything you did with talent development, shaping these young men, and you see this new era of college sports with NIL and everything, and it feels like we have basically a draft for all the best players every offseason. You look at that landscape and, where do you think ultimately this thing heads? If you had a magic wand, what would you do?
Okay. So, Duncan, first of all, the American college athletic scholarship university system is the American dream. Mm-hmm. Nobody else in the world has anything like we have with intercollegiate athletics. What did it do? It brought rural men to college campuses who never thought about going to get a degree, but they were pretty good athletes, and so what the hell, I'll take the scholarship and I'll go play football or run track or do something. It brought inner city kids, white and black, into university systems. It brought women to chase the athletes. No, that's not true. It brought women, because of Title IX and the opportunities for them.
Totally.
It brought diversity on a college campus. It was no longer just intellectual think tanks. It was sort of societal, and it created great cultures and great communities. You guys follow college sports. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's a fabric. What we're doing on the court and what we're doing in the field is terrific. The product is still really good. Mm-hmm. But what has happened is the courts have ruled that the establishment and what the NCAA had been doing for years was just against the law.
Yeah.
I mean, it was against the law. It was the world's largest antitrust violator.
Yeah.
So what am I here in D.C. doing? I'm basically going around and visiting with senators and congressmen, trying to create a sense of urgency. I could speak to any Texas senator or congressional leader and say, do you know what your football team's going to cost you next year?
Yeah.
Between $40 and $50 million for that roster in that year.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, dial the hands of time back 5-6 years ago, you couldn't buy him a hamburger.
Right.
I lost my job for having a barbecue at my house, right? Let's keep it real, right?
Yeah.
And
literally, that's true.
Yeah.
And barbecue at his house.
Right.
Yeah.
And now you're spending $45 million a year just on a football team where's that money coming from?
Mm-hmm.
It's doubling and tripling every single year. So what I'm asking Congress to just simply look at is this. Since we're breaking the law, aren't you lawmakers in charge? Can you not just adjust the laws so we can be in compliance with the law?
Yeah.
How do you do that? If Congress would give college athletics just some limited antitrust ability, just limited, okay? And if they could have a special classification for the student athletes other than employees. There's some real because in other words, huge problem.
Yeah.
Nobody wants, you lived it. No, collective bargaining,
Massive
unions, huge. No.
We wouldn't have sport.
We don't need it. The students don't want to be employees because they don't want to be fired.
Right.
The universities don't want them as employees because it creates lots of other problems as far as their benefits. They don't need to get involved. It would be too costly. So we both agree with that. Create special status for them so we can at least get in the room.
Yeah.
And agree to all the good ideas we have about the transfer portal or about eligibility or about how much somebody should make or about all the different great ideas on the table. We can't even get to that until the laws change and say, look, you guys need to get together in a room and agree to some things, and we could do it.
Yeah.
But the problem is, obviously Congress doesn't move very fast,
yes, it
if
turns
at all.
Yeah.
And if they don't do something, I don't know what's going to happen. Women's sports are going to run out of money, and they already are. The non-revenue sports are going to run out of money. And you know what's going to happen? Trump's in charge of the 28 Olympics. You think he wants to sit up in that box and watch us get our ass kicked?
Yeah. Right.
Where are all of our Olympians right now? They're all on university campuses training and competing and developing and getting ready for the Olympics. Who's paying for it? Men's football. I know with the Supreme Court had something going on. That's why I got to clarify men's football, but just football. And men's basketball. We're the only two people.
Women's football, though, for what it's worth.
Yeah, flag or touch.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
I've seen demos on it.
No pads?
Exactly.
So I think some limited help from Congress soon. Just guys, figure out a way to create the laws to let us get in the room and agree to some stuff, and we can move on.
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons why Congress is notoriously bad at coming together is because they all represent competing interests. And where I think this applies to NIL is you have some conferences that are good at certain sports and other conferences that are great at a lot of different sports. So, for example, the SEC, great basketball, especially right now, also great football. And then you look at the Big East where it is basketball heavy. So do you think that changes to the NIL could advantage basketball programs in the Big East because they don't really care as much about their football programs as opposed to SEC basketball? And how does it work in between sports? That's going to work?
Because that's your vantage point a little bit right now.
Right. Well, right now, the House settlement said that every university could spend up to $20.5 million as an increaser. Okay. Well, let's say St. John's has $20.5 million and Auburn has $20.5 million. St. John's doesn't have a football team.
Right. You know where it's going.
So therefore, if they want to spend $12 million on their basketball program, and Auburn says, well, listen, we're going to spend all this money on this and this, and men's basketball, you get $4 million.
Yeah.
The powers in the SEC aren't going to let some little school in Jamaica Plains, New York, called St. John's, make that call. That's not going to happen.
Just a Pitino whack. I love
no,
it.
It's not. I love Pitino. Best coach in America, Rick Pitino. And my son just beat him. How about that? No, it's crazy. No, but we're trying to find a way to get an equal playing field.
Yeah.
But things like that, or paying $4 million for a quarterback right now, or this transferring year after year after year, all these things are going to change.
Well, even the timing of the transfer portal is it's not fair to the schools. And it's not fair to the kids. You got kids having to make decisions while their team's, in a national title hunt,
taking finals, and trying to transfer to school.
It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense, and nobody's graduating because everybody's leaving year after year.
Yeah.
Coach Pat Dye at Auburn. You say you could coach him as hard as you love him.
Yeah,
I love my kids. After a few years of going through some stuff. I love a dear friend. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love my country. That stuff took time. I'm not falling in love with you in 6 months. I'm not, okay?
And there are
Get over it.
There's setbacks along the way.
But that's what builds relationships when you're there for the kid, when he breaks up with his girl, he has a bad game, and you stay with him, and all those things. Now, all that stuff can get fixed. But only if we change the laws to allow some entity to give us the governing rules. And what the courts have said is you can't set your own rules because the student athletes aren't there to sit at the table and agree with them. Until we wrap our arms around that, all this talk about what would you do, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Listen, we were a big fan of you to begin with in the basketball context. Watch what you had done. We just discussed. You became a legend in our view by speaking freely with your conscience about your views, your political views, your views with regard to Israel, doing so uninhibited in a marketplace, frankly, that does everything that it can do to discourage people in your position from doing it. It's controversial, they say, right? I mean, it's all these things. And you were like, well, what am I doing here? What's my platform if I'm not using it for something that's right? And I mean, that is, and from our perspective, that's where you go from a Hall of Fame coach to just an absolute legend.
I'm just doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just doing my part. Silence is complicity. Being as old as I am, I was able, think about born in 1960, I saw a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I saw real racism. I saw real race riots. I saw, lots of different things. But when I was in coaching, and I go into high schools, take any city in America, some of the schools look like college campuses. I mean, the best technology and facilities and computers, and 10 miles down the road, it looks like a reform school. It looks like a prison. It looks like in the same town. And wait a second, this is just wrong. So what do you do about it? Shut up and just not. I'm sitting here watching this going, this is wrong.
Yeah.
Or, watching my kids get racially profiled or whatever it was. And then being an American Jew.
Mm-hmm.
Now, anti-Semitism is not going anywhere. It's just here. It's been around forever. It's not going anywhere. But we got to protect ourselves from it.
Yeah.
I've never gone to synagogue, and I go to synagogue a lot, without a police officer at the door and in the parking lot. And he's not there to park cars. He's there to protect us as worshipers.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to make any sense of it, but I'm not going to sit on my ass.
Yeah.
And just not be able to call it out, not be able. And the last thing I'd say simply about this, this is a basically conservative Republican show, right? Would you say?
Yeah.
All right, great. I'd say made the mistake of voting for Barack Obama twice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coaching African-American men. I'm in their fight with them and saw, because I want to teach my guys, look, I don't want to hear about the obstacles. I don't want to hear about it. Yeah. You can be anything you want to be. Barack Obama was elected twice. These are obstacles, not roadblocks. These are challenges. And so I'm grateful to my country. This country saved my family's life from the Pogroms. My grandfather came over in 1929. And look at what this country has done for anybody that wanted to work hard, anybody that want to study, anybody that want to, we can be anything we want to be. Shut up. There were 3 Jewish basketball coaches in the Final Four. Shut up. Right?
Right.
And so we should be grateful for the opportunities. Yeah, there's anti-Semitism. Yeah, there are racism. Yeah, there are challenges. But this is still the greatest place in the entire world. Can we make it better? Yeah, and that's what I wanted to try to do. And I guess the last thing would be this. My grandfather, my Hebrew name is Mordechai. And Mordechai, in the story of Purim and Queen Esther, was, and it's in the book of Esther, that the first Holocaust was not going to be in Nazi Germany. It was actually going to be in Persia. And a guy named Haman had an idea to kill all the Jews. What he didn't really understand is that Queen Esther was sleeping with the king. She's got a little influence, you know what I'm saying? And so Mordecai, her uncle, says, hey, listen, Esther, if you don't start talking to the king about what's about to happen here, I'm going down, you're next. Yeah. And so she did. And so my grandfather kind of taught me a little bit to sort of speak up. And then because I was coaching basketball players and in the African-American teaching world, Dr. King, and his courage, so on and so forth. So I just sort of took that on. And if it meant that I might lose my job or it meant that I might lose a player, I might lose a player. Some parent is some coach going to say, hey, man, he's a racist. He didn't vote for Kamala Harris. Yeah. Why would you send your son there? There were articles in USA Today or CNN saying, why would you ever send your son to go play for Bruce Pearl? He's a racist. Yeah. I'm a racist just because I thought Donald Trump would have been a way better president than Kamala Harris. Right. Are you believing this crap?
Right.
And that's what we got to deal with. And so I don't want, as long as you're on the side of right versus wrong, good versus evil, and the truth, I'm okay.
Well, I think it's hard when you're in the middle of it. I'm sure you've had to deal with an enormous amount of shit. But the way we look at it, looking in, remarkably few athletes, coaches, whomever, go into the right side of the aisle and start speaking their mind, because there's just a whole apparatus that's built to try to shut you up. But when you do it, and then you go 36-4, and you show up in the Final Four, and everybody's like, "Hey, he's the coach of the year." You know, you got to give the hat off to him. But also, more importantly, you look at all of the other talented younger generation coaches, players, and whomever, and say, it's okay.
Yeah.
You can live your conscience. You can stand for what you believe in. Yep. You don't need to hide it. We can all kind of be in this thing together, which I think is the most important part about what you've been able to accomplish.
It is. We have a great melting pot. Yeah, we really do. And I wish we were way more tolerant of different opinions, of different races, of different religions, of different way of doing things. You know, wish just we were all a little bit more tolerant about it. You know, I caution some young coaches, they don't have to try to be like me in the sense that they got to win. They got to take care of their families. You don't want to give somebody an excuse to fire you. At the same time, be who you are. Just be authentic. And if you can't be authentic where you are, then you might want to think about not being there anymore and going someplace else. That's the only thing I would say. So yeah, it's a great example of it's worked out pretty well. And,
it sure has.
And now, you know, I'm not coaching anymore. I gave it to my son and that staff, and I'm so proud of those guys. They're doing great. They're doing really well. They're doing really well. I get a lot of flack. You know, I get a lot of go back to Israel. I get a lot of this, like, I love this country. I would give my life for this country, truly. Like, I could be one of those old guys on the front line. Like, you know what? When you're being chased by an alligator, you don't need to be fast, but you just need to be faster than me. Right? And I'm slow. So, I've had a good run. Yeah. I've had a good run. I'd get out there on the front line, give me a gun, let me get shot, and you be safe. You got kids to have, you got a long life. I feel that way. Yeah. But at the same time, I can still love my Jewish ancestral homeland.
Totally.
I can still love my faith. It doesn't make me less American, but it's the argument you get. So every time I'm on Twitter and I tweet about anything else other than Israel, they go, "Oh my God, thank God he finally said something other about Jews in Israel."
Well, I have to imagine it's particularly jarring when you've made an entire career being a coach, part of this higher education, part of America, and then you see all of this anti-Semitism pop up on college campuses. I have to imagine like that was sort of an out-of-body experience as somebody who's been in that line of work.
I mean, look, right now you've got thousands of Iranians, women, men, that are out there in the streets just asking for freedom and not have to live under this Islamic extremism insanity right now. Where are the college protesters?
Yeah, right.
Where are they? On every Ivy League campus, they ought to be ashamed of themselves for not being out there in thousands. You know, one of the things I was hoping I got, yesterday I went to the Supreme Court steps and I stood for women, and I was so proud to be able to do that. Kind of felt like I was representing Pat Summitt, who was my...
wasn't that incredible?
Oh my God, it was so good. And to see all these courageous girls and to see what Title IX has done.
Didn't you paint your chest?
Yeah. I could. Yeah. I'm ready to go paint my... Not anymore. America, you've seen quite enough of this body. Okay? I know. I'm keeping my shirt on. But I was hoping for more pro-Iran rallies even here in D.C. I was going to jump in. I want to be in on that. I don't know. We're afraid to teach. We're afraid to have hard conversations. You know, because at a university, we got to teach both sides to this. Wait a second. You know what? Sometimes there are both sides. Good versus evil, right versus wrong.
Yep.
But we want to be institutionally neutral.
Yeah, right.
Really?
Which doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Like right now, you know, this country, President Trump is leading, okay? And the haters might not like everything he says or how he says it, or he's got a little bit of an ego. I get it. There's never been a better president in my mind in the history of our country, especially with what he inherited.
Yeah.
Like what he inherited. This world was a dangerous place. He's just trying to make it safer.
Yeah.
But you talk about clean up on aisle 7. I mean, it's ridiculous all the crap that he has had to clean up.
Yeah.
But the Middle East is safer right now.
No question.
Iran has got a chance to be free. Assad's no longer in Syria. Hamas and those Gazans are no longer in prison. We got a fighting chance here.
Yeah.
I am an immigrant. I am for immigration, all for immigration, but it's got to be legal.
Yeah.
And it's got to be right. And it's made America better and make America great, but all the illegals, all the criminals, all the mess that they allowed, I don't get it. Holmes, why? Can you give me a good reason why we opened up the doors for 4 years? I mean, a good reason.
No, I mean, it's all cynical, right? I mean, the only thing you can justify it with is you want more either a cash funnel that goes back to fund their own deal or votes. There is no other answer to it. There is no other answer.
It's wrong. And then, you know, ripping off the government has sort of become a sport. Like, people don't look at it like you go to jail for stuff like that.
Yeah.
In my line of work, in education, I saw a lot of educational programs out there, wink, wink.
Yeah.
Like, where are the kids? I see some books here and I see some desks. Man, dudes all over the country just pocketing cash saying, well, we're running this SAT prep program or one of this Leave No Child Behind program. There's nobody sitting there getting
it. Turns out the left wing has had an NIL program on college campuses for quite some time. And it's a big money deal.
Yeah.
It might be bigger than NIL.
Facts. I'll take the fifth on that.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm not going to ask you to blow things up. But look, as you sit viewing this whole thing, I think you did a great job of laying out your view of the Iran-Israel peace. The relative peace in comparison, at least you can see a pathway to peace in the Middle East in the first time in a long time. Yep. This president doing something about it. Right. But again, you're not afraid to speak to that, which I think is super important. Do you think there is, on campuses, in athletics in general, just sort of blinders about all things politics? I mean, because to an awful lot of conservatives, when you look at it, you're like, wow, I mean, these guys are all just kind of playing the game to just, they want to get paid, they want to do their job or whatever, but they know what's going on. And then occasionally you get the LeBrons or somebody who's out speaking with the left side, which is covered dutifully. Is it just, I want to ignore because I got a job to do? Or is there a healthy fear of repercussion from an athlete's standpoint of speaking on anything right of center, do you think?
I would imagine that there probably is. Yeah. I would imagine that by being right of center and being public about it, you're going to take some flack from some of your friends that are center and left. Yeah. Are you going to cut down on your, and it would be in certain parts of the country. Like in Auburn, you're center and right. Your NILs actually could be worth more.
Yeah, right.
I mean, could be worth more. Point. And
yeah, you're right. Geographically,
it could be a geographic thing. I tell you what, schools in the southeastern part of our country are just going and growing and crushing it. And parents want to send their kids to a place where it's going to be safe, right? And then have to be exposed to some of this craziness and
good culture, nonsense.
Great culture, good people, love their country, love their faith, love their family, love their neighbor, and are willing to have differences of opinion without losing their minds. Yeah. So I don't know. Look, we just got to continue to do the right things, lead by example. I often tell Jewish coaches or Jewish players or Jewish kids, look. You got to be a little better. You got to be a little kinder. You got to be a little more generous. You got to be a little bit more patient. You got to be a little bit more aware because you're judged at a little bit of a different level. And so fine. Just try and be better. That's why I want my student athletes. That's why I want my kids. That's why you want you to be your kids. Just got to be, doesn't make us better, but we shouldn't be penalized for trying to be better.
Yeah.
Or live better.
So I got a question for you just after hearing you talk here for just a few minutes. Obviously, you're a great leader of so many different types of people. You're you got a track record of winning, and obviously a fierce competitor. I just wonder, would you ever run for something? I mean, is that something
people
that
tried? I heard people were making calls.
Yeah, I really thought one of the things that actually smashed. That's a great question. One of the things, not that you didn't ask great questions. Also, I didn't mean to qualify that. Duncan, sorry.
A diplomat.
I was sorry, but I'm not a diplomat. That's the problem. I'm not a politician. I'm too direct. I'm too much of an idealistic, and so one of the things that actually kind of propelled my getting out of coaching was I really worked hard in April and May of this past year of thinking about running for the United States Senate. When Tommy Tuberville decided he was going to become run for governor, and the seat became open, I was intrigued by it because I was waking up every morning really not caring as much about beating Kentucky or Indiana or whoever as I was our country.
Yeah.
I that was just all of that. I sort of shifted gears on that. And now, why didn't I run? I didn't run because the red Alabama Republican seat is going to be MAGA, conservative, faith, family, and pro-Israel. Those would be the things that I would care about. There's no way that seat goes to anybody else other than somebody like that. So my vote there in the Senate wouldn't have mattered that much. Yeah, there was some opposition and some challenges actually to my running. I was going to have a challenge to even get on the ballot. Why? Because the Republican Party in the state of Alabama had a rule, and other states had this rule, that if you donated to a Democrat in the last 6 years, if you've voted for a Democrat, the bylaws, you can't even get on the ballot. Right. Oh, but there's a 3/4 vote that from some state legislative Republican leaders to get you back on the ballot.
So you'd have to work the state legislature?
I'd have to work the state legislature to try to get on the ballot. And
well, everybody knows that's not worth your time.
Yeah, one at a time.
I've never understood those rules because it's like Donald Trump was a Democrat. He donated to Democrats. Like there's a lot of Democrats who voted for Donald Trump.
We're changing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Here's the other thing too. I look, this is an amazing place. I come up here and I'm just honored to walk in it's hallowed ground. And there are some amazing people up here, but there's some real stupid people out there too.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, stupid people.
You noticed.
And people that are self-serving and just anti-American and I just don't think I don't think I can do as much good in as I can out. I'm staying outside the halls of Congress.
The first Tuesday on an Ohio clock corridor press conference, Pearl will be on top of somebody.
I know it.
I'm probably not far off.
He'd have a lot more interesting things to say than most of the other people.
No question about it. No question. I hope you don't write that off. Maybe there's a right circumstance at some point, somewhere, sometime. Your voice is so important to politics in general. You don't have to hold office to do it, obviously.
Right. Or you can just keep on coming in here and talking to us.
Yeah,
I definitely will. I definitely will, because I'm relentless and I can be ruthless.
Yeah.
And no, I'm grateful for what you guys are doing, and I'm grateful for the kids and the younger people that are out there that are listening to this and learning and thinking, hearing from new ideas and. Again, it's, the things that have made our country great, those Judean Christian values that our foundation was built on. We just can't, get away from them. I know this is crazy, and I don't agree with anything that Ilhan Omar stands for. Rashida Tlaib out of Michigan, she is the most anti-Semite, pro-Palestinian, okay, but you know what? She's in the House of Representatives. She's in the House, the People's House.
Yeah.
The people in Michigan voted her in out of Dearborn. The Somali population voted Omar in. Yeah. That's the way our country works.
Yeah.
That's the way our country works. Now, I wish when we got here, we could somehow be Americans and not just be so partisan in everything that we do to get, to get better stuff done. And yet, we're still the greatest country in the world.
Yeah, right. Stay optimistic.
In spite of all of our challenges.
You're welcome here anytime. He's one of the greatest college basketball coaches in the history of the game. Bruce Pearl, thank you so much for joining us.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
I mean, what a treat to have him in. The guy is obviously a basketball expert, one of the greatest coaches of all time. We were talking about this off air, just like you put his name up there with all of the greats. And then he's taken a stand on important stuff, and he's not afraid. And I just feel like that conversation was really good, and I hope to have him back.
Terrific, dude. Love every single second of it. Grew up idolizing him. I hope he comes back early and often because great, just a fun guy to talk to, too. All right, remember our question of the day. You've seen Ketanji Brown Jackson. You've seen Tim Walz this week. Who's the dumbest lib and why?
Incredible.
Great question. When you like and subscribe to the Ruthless Friday program, we get back to the very next episode. In this case, it's going to be Tuesday. We'll have some laughs and get your responses and go on our merry way on what is to be an eventful week. Fellas, I think we did it.
I think so. Absolute banger of an episode. Gentlemen, thank you so much, Bruce Pearl, and thank you to the listeners. Remember, if you have not yet, go to the YouTube, hit that subscribe because it's more fun in video. So until next time, minions, keep the faith, hold the line, and own the libs. We'll see you on Tuesday. Stay ruthless.